Hi everybody, this is Pam with Jesus Junk Journals, and I'm going to do another video on humanizing your junk journal, which is just another way of saying make it warmer, just a little bit more of a hand-done, handcrafted touch. And so today we're going to do slow stitching, and I'll do a couple of examples from what I've learned about it. I know there's a lot more to it, but we'll take a look at it. So come on with me. Okay, so we're going to do some slow stitching, which I've been watching some videos and just hearing about it and seeing some things, and I've been wanting to do it. And I think what I'll do, I want to do more than one video because there's different levels, I would say, of slow stitching. It's one person described it as like embroidery and mending combined, and she said it was based on a Japanese technique called sashiko, which she said was also called visible mending. And so it's making problems beautiful. So if you have a tear or rip or something like that, it's making it more beautiful. And it's also, slow stitching is also about imperfection. So being imperfectly perfect, kind of like junk journaling, it really goes well with it because you can use pieces of cloth that's torn, stained, raw edges. Stitches don't have to be even, and they don't have to be in a straight line. So it's just you can just take things, slap them together, stitch them, and it's just the beauty of something being sewn in a very basic manner. So I thought what I would do for today is like the basic, the most basic of basic slow stitch it's really like a little sampler. And so what I did is I cut a couple pieces of felt, and I went to the flea market. You know how much I love to go to flea markets the other day. And I got this for $4, I think. So somebody was really into embroidery, and they have their little thread keepers that they use, and there's some extra ones here for me if I decide to go to that extent. But it's anyway, it was kind of fun to get this. Of course, I have my own colors to use too, but it kind of inspired me to get on with this because I've been thinking about it for a while. I'm gonna, let's see. I'm going to thread up a needle. I'll come back. Let me do that and I'll come back. Okay, I'm hooked. First thing I did was pick up one of those empty little things and wind one of these up, which is very relaxing. I love it. Now I don't know where to get these, but I want more. So anyway, all right, so I cut just a little short piece of this off because I'm not going to do much before I change colors probably. And there's 6 strands on these things. So I'm going to do 3. Do I have 3? Yeah. Just to make it a little more stand out. That did not make sense. That was not good English. I'm going to make it stand out a little more. There you go. And so let's see if I can get this big old needle threaded. It's a little bit bigger of a needle than I need probably, but it's got a big eye so I can thread it easy. Okay, so I'm just gonna knot the 2 or 3, sorry. And so the way this works, you can just do whatever you want. So what I don't even know, I think I will go around, maybe go around the outside. And so not supposed to be even, which goes against everything you've probably ever been taught, or me in any kind of sewing class. or project. And so it's just almost like a crude stitching. I have no idea what this is going to end up looking like. So anyway, do I want to go all the way around? Do I have enough thread? I don't know if I do or not. I think I will do that and see what happens. Yeah, I got plenty. Okay. All right. So today is Monday. Went to church yesterday. Feeling pretty good about that. I am one of those people that got used to being at home during the COVID, I think, and had to kind of be, God had to kind of thump me in the head. It's like, time to go back. Time to go back. All right, so I'm going to just clip that. Okay, so that is slow stitching. And of course, that's not enough. It's not really, that's not very interesting to put in. So what I'm going to do is find another color. I think I'll use that. I'm thinking about the colors of this, that I'm going to, like these colors for my new prayer war journal. So there's a lot of peaches and pinks and browns and those kind of things, cream colors. So that's why I'm picking this color. But you know, I've always gotten a lot of my teaching, so to speak, off TV and books and radio and that sort of thing. And I mean, church a long time ago, but so, you know, I have been in and out of church over the years because I felt like I was getting it on TV or on the radio or on CDs or in, you know, books. And so one pastor back in Kansas City made a really good point. He says, you know, you really need to be in a church. First of all, because the Bible says, forsake not the assembling of the saints. So that's probably my number one reason. I think of that verse and it just kind of like, all right. Get in there and get involved and get with people. And, but he also said, you know, the church, you need to know people in church. I mean, that's your community, hopefully. He said, you know, that pastor needs to know you. I mean, it'd be great if you have a pastor that knows you, because he's the one that marries you and buries you. And it really made an impression on me. It's like, well, that's a good point. You know, when something happens, when trouble comes, or when something great happens, like a baby's born or you get married, you want to have a pastor, and you really want to have one that knows you. So anyway, it's probably obvious to everyone else, but it really struck me, and I thought, good point. So it just really encouraged me to get involved with the church more than I ever had before. Back in the 70s, they used to call it cafeteria style church, because people, you know, we went to a big mega church and there were so many people there that nobody had to do anything. I remember signing up one time for a Thanksgiving where we were going to go feed the poor at a shelter, and there were more people there serving than there were people eating. And it felt like, okay, this is silly. So I just didn't see the point of that. But so we'd go to church and it was like cafeteria. You just go and get whatever you needed. Like, oh, you want a Bible class? Have that. Oh, you want to go to church service? Have that. And it was all about you getting what you needed, not so much about serving. So that was the 70s and 80s, I think. So anyway, things have progressed, and I feel like at least for me, because I'm older now. Some people have no problem doing it. I'm kind of a wild donkey. I've always been rebellious, and kind of God has had to really straighten me out over the years. First thing he did was give me a job at Hallmark Cards, which kind of grinds you into a fine white powder. So any rebellion that you might have, it gets beat out of you over the years. And so that was really good for me. Plus I made a living. So that was awesome. And so anyway, I'm at church, and I'm hoping other people decide they need to come back soon, because there's a lot of people staying home. Some people need to stay home because they have health concerns, but I think some people just got used to the convenience of watching church in your jammies, just like, they got used to working from home. Okay, so I'm just kind of deciding what to, I don't even know. I'm going to try, I think I know a stitch, but I used to embroider years ago here and there. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I've done everything a little bit, but I'm not really great at any of it, probably. Okay, so what I did is I wrapped around, so I pulled the stitch through. So I wrapped around, stuck the needle through in a stitch, and brought this thread like this. And so it does kind of a loop, and then you do a little, see if I can do a second one now. Let's see, I kind of think you do a stitch. No, maybe not. Maybe you just keep doing loops. Well, we'll find out. Let's see what happens. Okay. Whatever you do, just keep doing it, and it'll look legit. Do several of them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. Okay, I guess that's it. You take a stitch, and do like a little chain. Yeah, that's it. I bet it's called a chain stitch. What do you bet? I bet the lady that owned that box of embroidery thread would know what it's called. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see. I don't know where she is. If she's up in heaven looking down, I'm so sorry that I am abusing your thread in this crude manner, but on the other hand, I'm happy to have it and appreciate it. So as you can see, I'm just kind of making a little sampler. Now, how do I end this? Probably just take it to the back. And I'm going to take it right there to just do that. Okay. Should have pulled that tighter before I did that, but that's all right. There. Okay, so I'm going to tie a knot in the back. Not worried about how the back looks either. Okay, so I'm going to take that color out. I wonder if I have a green. Let's see. I was watching a tutorial on making yo-yos, which I'm going to do in one of these other ones. I've always loved yo-yo quilts, and well, I've never made them, so they're really simple to make. So I was watching her, and she is like, you can tell this lady is all about quilting and knows all about how to make knots and everything, and she was just doing everything very cleanly and precisely and quickly, and very impressed. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm just going to make, well, okay. So the knot's on this side by mistake. I'm going to leave it there. And I'm just going to run a straight stitch up because as I said before, and I'm going to tie the knot on this side too, since I put the knot here, I might as well make it look intentional somewhat. Pat, if you're watching, I know you're horrified. My sister's very precise and does everything very perfectly. So I don't know if slow stitching, I guess she can do perfect slow stitching maybe. Because I'm sure it would be beautiful if you were perfect. I'm just going to go back and kind of restitch the parts that I didn't stitch. I think since I still have this thread, I might as well just keep going. One of the things I'm trying to remember, when I was a Girl Scout, when like I was, I don't know, however old you are, 7 or 8 years old, they did an embroidery badge thing that we worked on, and we did X's, and I think it was just like you just went back and forth. I can't remember now if you did all of the one direction and then came back across, probably. But I am not going to do that. I'm going to do this. And just make some X's up the side. Not perfect, obviously. Not the same size. And so these are things that you would stick in your journal, like ephemera, but has that warmth of a human touch. The human touch, humanizing, as the title of this video says. And because they don't have to be perfect, you could probably sit down with a pile of fabric and some embroidery thread and watch TV and do this. And make a bunch of these. So that is that row. And honestly, from what I've seen online, either side of this would qualify as slow stitching. Some of the ones I've seen are just very simple, just kind of stitching on them. I think one more stitch I'm going to do and then I'll quit is my favorite, as you know, which is the blanket stitch. I'm going to find a different green. Let me make sure it's going to, the blanket stitch, I guess it's called. So I'm going to do the blanket stitch and kind of think I want these to be pretty close to the same size. So I'm going to trim this down just a little bit. This is some felt that's got stains on it. Not really good for anything, and that's kind of what, from what I see, that's kind of what you do, is you use the stuff that's not good for anything else and you create your slow stitch. The blanket stitch, see if I can do this on camera now. So you kind of make a loop and you sew up through it, make a loop, sew up through it, and you just keep going around the edge. Okay, so then I'm just gonna take a stitch in the back to end it, and tie a knot. I'm going to do at least one more video because I'm going to do a slow stitch cover with a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so I have this thread left, so I'm going to go ahead and do some on this with this color while I have it in here. And I'm trying to remember, I haven't done that chain thing. I'll do that over here maybe. Oh, maybe I'll just tie it up. That's enough. Okay. Oh, that's okay. So I did a chain, I did the chain stitch on the back. Well, that's okay. I guess if you pull it out and look at it, you've got some interest on both sides. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So I think I probably need one more row. Let me see, what colors do I have? I'll do a light green. And I think I'll do the X again. When I do this, I just get this flashback to the basement of the Methodist Church in Oak Grove, Missouri, where I was doing Girl Scouts, and them showing us how to do this. And we had these tea towels that were printed with ink, the pattern, and we were all sitting around doing this. And then, of course, we all proudly took them home to our mothers. And I remember having those around the house for quite a while, and the stitching was just a mess. I mean, you know, very crude, very, you know, like a kid would do. And you'd turn it over and the back of it was just a big mess. But it was fun, and I'm glad we did it. And it probably got me started on a lifelong love of crafts and stitching and so on. Okay, so there's that one. I'd call that done. And I think that's it for today. I'll come back again in another day and we'll do some more elaborate slow stitching with some appliques and so on. All right, thanks for watching.